Hey guys, my name's Jordan DeVos. Originally born in Zimbabwe. Uh, I'm a mix of Scottish, so I'm a quarter Scottish, a quarter Dutch, and half Zimbabwean. Both my grandfathers were white and both my grandmothers were black. Um, this is something that I'm extremely proud of, the mix of what I am, because I feel like there's a very strong, it takes strong-willed people to come together, being black and being white, due to, at the time, so my grandfather would have been in Africa due to the British colonising Zimbabwe. He'd have been there serving his country, he'd have been, under scrutiny for being with a black woman who would have been my grandmother. Same with my dad's dad, who was Dutch. He was Dutch Boer, which is South African Dutch, and he too, was probably over in Zimbabwe serving, or I'm not sure. I haven't got complete background story about how my grandparents met, but it would not have been easy. I know this for a fact, because even in this day and age, it probably wouldn't be easy in either South Africa or Zimbabwe to be with a woman of opposite race. So, we speak about apartheid, and we all know what apartheid is, and I'm sure my grandparents lived through it and went through the apartheid. So I feel like, rooting from then on, we've had a pretty good backbone of strength and standing up against and not diving into racism. So I came to England in 2007 from Zimbabwe. When I came to this country, I had a very strong Zimbabwean accent, and I got picked on during primary school, secondary school. I got picked on throughout, but I never. I almost fell over it. God damn! I never. Come on. I never played up to it. I never got myself in a muddle about it. I never really. I didn't let it bother me. I never let it get the better of me. I think that's just because it was rooted in me from such a young age. And in Zimbabwe, being half black and half white, you got scrutinised too. It was a very split country to live in. You had your blacks, you had your whites, and you had your mixed race who were, scrutinised. And I was scrutinised back then. I was scrutinised when I was a kid. So I've been faced with racism, so to say, pretty much from a young age. I've seen my parents get scrutinised for it, and it might not be the same that getting attacked for being black, but we were attacked for being brown. So that was like the post-apartheid racism that I was faced with. But I remember during secondary school, particularly from the age of probably year 8, year 9, I still had my accent, and because I was from Zimbabwe and everybody knew I was from Zimbabwe, I used to get the mick taken out of me. I remember there's one video that came out, and there was a black guy, and it's like, "I take you to the movies, Sade," and it was a song that he made, and that got ripped into me for time, throughout my whole school life. I never lived it down. And it was like, "I take you to the movies, your TV." They put my initials into it and everything, and that was like a song. That was a song. Whenever half my year see me, that's how they used to greet me. And because I probably never played up to it, I never made a thing about it. They just did it throughout my whole school life. And looking back at it now, I don't know what those guys are doing, but I hope they're not taking the mick out of somebody else or thinking it's okay to do so. I probably should have stood up to that then and put a stop to it, but because I've never let racism or anything like that, I've never let racism affect me, I've just never played up to it. And further on in my career, so up until recently, I've been working as a dairy farmer, which, as a lot of you may know, there isn't a lot of black people in dairy farming, even though that's probably one of our roots. But in Britain, in England, there's not a lot of black people in dairy farming. And I'd go to certain places, certain farms, certain areas, and people would, kind of just look at me like, what what you doing farming, you know? And it was like, once again, never did I play up to or majorly take note to it or play up to people so they could say something to me. I just ignored it. But yeah, you know, I have been looked at a certain way for the colour of my skin and the profession I was in. But why is the colour of my skin ever given anyone a reason to look at me or question why I'm doing the career I'm in? That's my choice in life. And yeah, you know, I like the outdoors, I like going camping, and I've been to smaller villages and smaller places in England where I do get like, you know, those uncomfortable stares like, oh, you're a black man in this area? Like, what are you doing here? Like, yeah, and day in, day out, I think as black people in England, we do get frowned upon if we do anything out of the black stereotype. You know, people will look at me and think, oh, he's probably this, he's probably a hoodlum, he's probably a gangster. And yeah, you know, I'll wear a full tracksuit. That's just how I like to dress. Like, that's comfort for me. And because I'm in a full tracksuit, it's chavvy, or it's gangster, or it's hood, or it's somewhat. No, I think that in every society, and it'll probably be along for ever, we'll always get looked as lesser than. And I've been looked at as lesser than a lot of the time. Like, you know, the only time I was looked at as in more than is in sport. Like running in particular, like, oh, yeah, you're black, you should be good at that. Oh, I win a race, you're black, of course you're quicker. Like, okay, yes, the statistics and, you know, facts that black people have quicker twitch muscles, hence why we can run faster. But for being black, I had an expectation on me during school to be quick, to be good, to be athletic. And then I came into the classroom and I wasn't particularly looked at, should I say. For example, in English, like, I think English was never my first language, and because I picked up English and spoke English well, all my teachers automatically assumed I never needed assistance. So it wasn't up until year 11 when I was sitting my final English exam. I remember one of my teachers came to me and said, "Jordan, I'm so sorry. We have mistreated you all this time because you speak English so well, but you weren't born in this country. You'd only been in this country. She's like, I only recently looked into your files because you speak English so good, but your grades are quite low." She's like, I only recently looked into your files and realised that English isn't your first language. You should have had assistance from the time you came into the school. And I was like, okay, it's a bit late to be telling me this now. And not to say that that's racist, but, you know, never did they look into my case or what kind of person I was because I spoke English well. So in the flip sense, when I was treated evenly as they were treating everybody else, was that right? Or I was overlooked? I don't know. It's one of those, like, I'm not going to call it racism, but I'm going to say probably because I spoke English well as a black student, they never took time to look at my academical results or my academical progress. You know, how does it take you from the time I was in year 7 and only when I'm about to do my last exam in year 11 you tell me, actually, we should have given you assistance all this time? That's 5 years. 5 years to do something about it, but you've done nothing. Yeah, I mean, but for anybody that faces racism continuously and it is a problem for you, you know, don't be like me, because I've been very naive to it all, and, you know, I've chosen to be the bigger person and rise above it all. But in actual fact, I've probably left a hole for someone to go and mistreat another black person or another minority person. And, you know, if you are facing that racism today, speak up. Speak up. Now is the best time to speak up, you know. We've got the Black Lives Matter movement, which is embracing us all to speak up. So I think we need to speak up. If you're facing racism, from how small it is to whatever scale it's on, you need to speak up, because it is not right. It's not right from the government, the police, to the people that we're living around. It's it's not right. So speak up and, you know, share your story, share your light, because somebody might see something from what you're sharing and feel like they can share too. And you know, you could be the person that makes somebody else speak out. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, slavery's been around for years upon years, from, you know, the beginning of time. Apartheid have come and gone, but have they come and gone, or have they just stopped being so normalized? Because I personally believe we're still living in an apartheid world. It's just not so forefront, or it's not so normalized or accepted. You know, just because it's not accepted doesn't mean it's not happening. So guys, please, if you're facing any racism, speak up. Use this page as a platform to speak upon any issues, any little niggles or disheartening moments you have as a minority, and vice versa. You know, if you are white and you're facing racism from black people, speak up, because it's not right. You know, we're trying to fight for equality here. That doesn't mean we point a finger saying, oh, because you're white, black people get, you know, racially abused, it's okay for you to get abused. No, it's not right. So speak up, guys.